Welcome to Bookbite Insight. Today we have our guest, Ilara. Welcome, Ilara, to our channel.
Thank you, Marcus.
I usually keep things clinical here, focused on data. But I have to start with the confession. I'm 30 years old, and my dating history is a loop. A brutal, repetitive loop. I get close, I start to feel something real, and then I self-sabotage, or I'm ghosted, or the person is simply wrong. I used to think it was bad luck, divine punishment maybe. But the real question I have for all of us today is, what if every single partner you've chosen was doomed before the first date? What if the agony, the chaos, the emotional whiplash was entirely predictable?
And that, Marcus, is exactly where the illusion of love ends and the science begins. People like us who repeat painful patterns, we believe in fate, we believe in magic. But the book we're discussing, Attached, destroys that fairy tale.
You're saying our repeated failures aren't about cosmic bad timing?
Not at all. Our struggles don't stem from destiny, they stem from a hidden biological imperative. I'm talking about the attachment system. Think of it as a deep, primal wire that runs from our ancient survival instincts straight into our adult relationships.
A biological wire? That sounds cold.
It is, but that's the truth. We are programmed to seek connection for survival, and this system silently dictates our entire search for intimacy. It's not about finding the right person. It's about how your blueprint reacts when you feel threatened. The core premise is a shocker. The person you think you're in love with might just be the person your biology is compelled to chase, regardless of whether they bring you happiness. Our entire journey is dictated by this hidden force.
So the heartache we feel, it's just the sound of a primitive system reacting?
Precisely. And in the next segment, we're going to define what that system actually is and how it was installed in your mind when you were too young to object.
Ilara, in the last segment, you dropped a bombshell. Our struggles aren't bad luck. They're governed by an attachment system. But how does a primal, biological wire turn into a blueprint that dictates who I call on a Friday night?
That's the brilliance of the theory. The attachment system is like an operating system designed for one purpose: survival. As children, we needed caregivers to be reliable. So our young minds developed a specific, predictable strategy for getting that closeness. This strategy becomes the blueprint.
So, if a caregiver was always responsive, the child's strategy was simple and direct. They asked for what they needed.
Exactly. And if a caregiver was inconsistent, sometimes there, sometimes gone, the child developed a different, frantic strategy. And if the caregiver was distant or dismissive, the child developed a strategy of self-reliance and emotional distance. These strategies are our three main attachment styles.
That means the core truth of our relationship struggles isn't about the person sitting across from us on the date. It's about the emotional dynamic we internalized from the moment we were born.
Precisely. The revelation from Attached is that your current relationship behavior, why you panic when someone doesn't text back, or why you run when someone gets too close, is a direct, often reckless strategy you learned in infancy to keep a protector nearby. This strategy is efficient for a baby, but it's catastrophic for an adult trying to build a partnership.
A moment of heavy reflection. So the decisions we make about love, commitment, and intimacy, they aren't rational choices made by our mature 30-year-old selves.
No, they are automatically triggered by a childhood commander who is constantly afraid of being left alone. We are not choosing partners rationally. We are simply blindly following a blueprint that was designed for survival, not romance. And until you identify that blueprint, Marcus, you will be destined to repeat the same chaotic, predictable pattern forever.
The hidden blueprint. That sets a serious stage for the rest of the episode. When we come back, we'll finally define those three blueprints: the secure, the anxious, and the avoidant. If the attachment system is the operating code, Marcus, then the three main adult attachment styles are the distinct programs running our dating lives. The book provides a clean, clear way to categorize the vast majority of people we meet. It's a powerful lens to view all your past relationships. Let's start with the ideal, the standard everyone should aim for. What's the first blueprint?
The first, and statistically the largest group, is the secure style. These individuals had reliable caregivers, so their attachment strategy is simple and direct. They are comfortable with intimacy and equally comfortable with independence. They don't play games, their communication is clear. They are the definition of emotional consistency.
And why are they often overlooked in the dating world?
Because they don't provide the drama that the other two styles mistake for passion. Their relationships aren't roller coaster rides, they're smooth sailing, which can feel boring to someone wired for chaos.
Fascinating. Now, let's move to the two styles that generate most of the relationship agony. What's the profile of the highly engaged but often distressed individual?
That's the anxious style. Their core emotional struggle is the intense fear of abandonment. They desperately crave closeness and intimacy, but they are constantly vigilant for any sign their partner might leave. Their strategy is to maximize contact to ensure the bond is always active. They worry, they overthink, and they need constant reassurance.
They are driven by the fear that if they relax, the other shoe will drop.
Exactly. And finally, the third style, the one that causes so much confusion and heartbreak for the anxious partner, the avoidant style.
I think a lot of people recognize this one in their exes.
Their strategy is the opposite of anxious. They value their independence above all else and view closeness as a threat. They feel smothered easily. For them, intimacy means losing their sense of self. They protect themselves by keeping an emotional distance, maintaining space, and minimizing the importance of the relationship.
So, to summarize the core emotional struggle of each, secure is comfortable with commitment, anxious is terrified of abandonment, and avoidant is terrified of commitment itself.
You've got it. Those three simple blueprints explain 95% of all relationship behavior you'll ever encounter. And next, we'll dive into how those two volatile styles, anxious and avoidant, actually sabotage themselves with the very behaviors meant to keep them safe.
Let's dive into the anxious style. These are the people who feel the most pain. They crave intimacy desperately, but their internal world is full of fear. Ilara, what is the core conflict that traps them?
Their core conflict is a tragic paradox. They need closeness to feel safe, but they operate from a deep, foundational belief that their partner is about to abandon them. This fear triggers what the book calls protest behaviors. These are desperate, frantic attempts to restore closeness and get a response.
Give us the classic examples of these protest behaviors. What does the anxious person actually do?
It's the things we all do when we panic. It's the excessive calling and texting, the silent but intensely hostile withdrawing when a partner pulls away. It's the manufactured drama, the passive-aggressive posts, the ultimatums given not to end the relationship, but to force the partner to chase them and prove their love.
They are deliberately creating chaos to confirm the bond.
Exactly. And here is the tragic irony, the twist. The very acts designed to bring the partner closer, the frantic reaching, the emotional flooding, are precisely the actions that trigger the partner's own need for space, causing them to retreat further. The anxious individual's biggest fear, abandonment, is ultimately guaranteed by their own self-sabotaging strategy.
So they are, moment by moment, actively constructing the very failure they are terrified of. They feel abandoned because they drove the partner away with their fear.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy orchestrated by that inner childhood commander. They are addicted to the feeling of tension because for them, a relationship is only real if they are fighting for it. Calmness equals indifference. This siren's call of chaos ensures they rarely experience the safety they crave.
A devastating analysis. When we come back, we'll look at their mirror image, the avoidance style, and the equally destructive strategies they use to run from intimacy.
Now we turn to the avoidant style, the perfect opposite of the anxious. If the anxious person's fear is, you will leave me, the avoidant's fear is, you will trap me and smother me. They equate intimacy with the loss of their independence.
These are the people who are charming at first, but the moment things get serious, moving in, meeting the family, defining the relationship, they hit the emotional eject button. They need to escape.
Exactly. And they have their own set of self protective maneuvers, which the book calls deactivating strategies. These are subconscious actions taken to ensure a certain amount of distance is always maintained, no matter how good the relationship is on paper.
What are the classic signs of these deactivating strategies? What does the avoidant person actually do to create that distance?
The list is often baffling to their partners. It includes actions like focusing intensely on small, irrelevant flaws in their partner. For example, I can't commit because they chew too loudly. Keeping secrets, having a better ex who they constantly compare their current partner to, or being deliberately vague about the future to prevent the partner from feeling secure.
So they weaponize doubt. They create confusion to protect their space. This sounds incredibly frustrating for the person on the receiving end.
It is. And the most powerful strategy is simply the emotional retreat. Pulling back when a partner is vulnerable, taking too long to respond to texts, or feeling suffocated by a request for quality time. The tragedy for the avoidant person is that by constantly pulling away, they validate their belief that people are inherently unreliable and demanding, ensuring they remain emotionally isolated.
They are running from a prison that exists only in their mind. They seek distance and confirm their belief that they're better off alone.
And here's the hook for our next segment. These two broken blueprints, the frantic anxious and the fleeing avoided, don't just exist separately. They have a powerful, almost chemical reaction to each other. When we return, we'll explore the fatal magnetism that draws these two destructive styles together.
We've established the two volatile blueprints: the anxious person, desperate for closeness, and the avoidant person, desperate for space. But the core twist in the book, Ilara, is that these two don't avoid each other. They seem to be fatally magnetized. Why do they keep finding each other?
Because they are both operating from a state of emotional instability, and that is what they recognize as love. Think about it. The anxious person is terrified of abandonment. The avoidant person guarantees they will feel abandoned. The avoidant person is terrified of being smothered. The anxious person guarantees they will be relentlessly pursued.
So they perfectly confirm each other's deepest fears. It's a tragic symmetry.
It is. The anxious person reads the avoidance distance as a challenge. I must prove I am worthy of love. The avoidant person reads the anxious person's pursuit as validation. I must be incredibly desirable if they are trying this hard. What they call passion or chemistry is really just the high of their attachment systems activating and chasing a difficult, unreliable reward.
So the relationship isn't built on connection, it's built on drama and uncertainty.
Exactly. And for both parties, that drama feels familiar. If you grew up with inconsistent emotional availability, then a partner who is inconsistent feels like home. The predictable, dramatic cycle, chase, catch, retreat, panic, becomes their emotional comfort zone. They are essentially addicted to emotional instability.
The book presents a devastating conclusion. Many people aren't looking for a safe harbor. They are unconsciously looking for a shipwreck that confirms their blueprint.
And the cycle continues until one of them is utterly exhausted. When we come back, we will contrast this chaos with the third style, the secure anchor, and explain why everyone else avoids the thing that can actually heal them.
So we've laid out the dramatic cycle that enslaves the anxious and avoidant styles. But the solution, the secure style, is often right in front of them, and they consistently walk right past it. Why do people run from the very thing that can save them?
Exactly. The anxious person misreads the secure partner's consistency as indifference. The avoidant person finds the secure partner's warmth and accessibility to be suffocating. They are both wired to seek tension, and the secure style offers none. What they perceive as boring is, in fact, emotional consistency and reliability.
It sounds like the greatest relationship advice the book offers is to stop chasing the drama and start appreciating the anchor.
Precisely. The secure style is the roadmap for healing. When we return, we will shift from diagnosis to cure. How can an anxious or avoidant person break their own blueprint and earn that secure feeling?
Ilara, we've painted a pretty bleak picture. We've said that a blueprint installed in infancy is running our adult heart. That sounds deterministic. It sounds like a prison. The critical question for everyone listening is, can we escape our blueprint? Can an anxious person become less fearful? Or an avoidant person finally learn to lean in?
That's the most empowering part of the book. The answer is an absolute yes. The attachment system is flexible. While your innate style might be anxious or avoidant, you can absolutely achieve earned security. This means you consciously integrate the secure strategies into your behavior.
How difficult is that process? If the blueprint is running on autopilot, our system one, if we bring in our earlier analogy, how do we force the change?
It requires tremendous conscious effort, especially at first. You have to learn to identify the moment your old style is triggered. For the anxious person, it's recognizing that spike of panic when a text isn't returned immediately. For the avoidant person, it's feeling that sudden, irresistible urge to pull back and create distance when a commitment is mentioned.
So the first step is becoming a spy on your own emotional reactions.
Exactly. The change comes from identifying the style and then, with sheer willpower, choosing to act like a secure person instead. If you're anxious, you stop the protest behavior. If you're avoidant, you lean into the discomfort instead of running. It's a process of rewiring your emotional response by creating new, healthier relationship habits. It's hard work, but the reward is true, lasting stability.
You're confirming that you can earn your way out of the chaos. When we return for our final two segments, we'll give the audience the most actionable takeaway of all, the specific steps to choosing stability and how to find a partner who helps, not hurts, your healing process.
We've established that escaping your old blueprint is possible through earned security. But how do you execute the change in the real world? The book provides two non-negotiable actions. The first is about how you interact, and the second is about who you interact with.
Let's start with communication. If an anxious or avoidant person wants to become more secure, what's the single biggest behavioral change they must make?
They must practice direct communication of needs and eliminate all protest behaviors. The anxious person must learn to say, I need clarity about our future plans, instead of withdrawing or picking a fight. The avoidant person must learn to say, I need 2 hours alone right now, instead of silently pulling away for 3 days. You must ask for what you need without triggering the drama.
You're saying, treat the relationship like a business proposal, not a battlefield. But the most powerful advice, the real game changer the book offers, is about the choice of partner.
Absolutely. This is the ultimate takeaway. The single most effective action you can take to heal is to actively partner with secure individuals. Stop chasing the volatility of the anxious avoidance cycle. The secure partner simplifies the relationship landscape instantly. Stop choosing the familiar storm and choose the calm anchor.
So that's the science. That's the book. Communicate directly, choose secure, stop the drama.
It's the roadmap, Marcus.
I know, but preparing for this episode, it wasn't just research. It felt like a diagnosis. I have to confess something live on air. For 3 years, I've been dating people who consistently push me away. I thought I was attracted to intensity, but reading about the avoidance style, the need for constant distance, the subtle focusing on minor flaws to justify pulling back, my entire dating history, including the reason my last stable partner left me because I was too passive, too distant, it perfectly maps onto the avoidant blueprint. I've been running from commitment not because I was afraid of the partner, but because I was afraid of losing my independence. I am the avoidant.
Marcus, that's a massive realization. But you just gave me my own diagnosis. Right here in the studio. You remember I told you earlier in the week I was stressed out because my new business partner wasn't confirming our project timeline. I sent him 5 emails in one day, demanding clarity. I called it proactive management.
That's protest behavior.
Yes, and when you were so calm just now discussing your need for distance, my immediate frantic reaction was to fill the space, to provide the expertise, to push the drama. My entire high-energy, demanding communication style in both my career and my personal life, it's not confidence. It's the anxious blueprint, terrified of abandonment, screaming for certainty. I am the anxious.
We just spent an hour defining a chaotic, predictable relationship cycle. And we finished the podcast by realizing we are the two tragic players locked into that magnetism, live on air.
The predictable heartbreak was us.